Hello guys, once again it's Matt, and today we have another video. Thank you all the members, all the Patreons. Make sure to subscribe, and happy Sunday if you are watching this on the Sunday of the release of this video. So today I have another trying to have a fun little game of trying to predict or just have fun, basically looking at possible additions for the future. And today we're going to talk about 4 options that, since Gaijin loves so much adding trainers or biplaced versions of aircraft that are already in the game as event vehicles, just like they did with the A7K, just like they did with the F100F, and just like they did with the Jaguar E, we're going to talk about 4 options that are possible to be added in the future with that in mind, you know, being an event vehicle. 4 options that I would love to see it, actually. It's more of a personal kind of situation here of I would like to see it. So the first one is kind of like not that amazing or different, but it is the F105. Depending on the variant, I mean, there is the F and the G variants. Both of them are based off of the F105D, you know, and basically the F variant was just a trainer, so basically the same aircraft with another seat in the back, and I think it might have more you know, a limit on the weight that you can actually get in payload. Maybe it did have a new engine or something like that. I couldn't properly find it, but it could carry more bombs and stuff like that apparently. But the G variant would be even cooler because it is the Wild Weasel version. So that means it's a seed aircraft. What it means is that it can actually target anti-air systems, you know, with its anti-radiation missiles. So it could use the Shrike, I think it was the first one, but maybe even it could take some more modern missile or versions of the missile as well. It would be a very interesting one. It wouldn't be like totally different from what we have, just like the F100F, just like the Jaguar E, just like the A7K. It would be just a tiny little bit of difference, but as I said, if Gaijin loves these variants so much, here is an option for the F105, you know, that would be very, very cool. The second one is a more advanced aircraft, an aircraft that we already have a lot of in the game, which is the F-16B. So the F-16B is pretty much, as you see on the screen right now with the Taiwanese version, it is pretty much the same as the F100A. You know, it could carry Sparrows, it could carry AIM-9s, and it would just be a very, very similar aircraft to that, but having a 2-seater option, you know, being very similar to something like the F-16D variant of the Barak, of the Israelis, compared to the C variant of the US, right? It would be very similar to those kind of configurations. Pretty much the same aircraft, but depending on the block, right? But having a 2-seater. So that would be an option that I would love to see. I think it's an aircraft that has kind of a charm going for it. So it would be very, very cool to see something like that, even though it would be kind of a copy-paste. As I said, if Gaijin loves this type of thing to be an event vehicle, the F-16B would be a very, very good and viable option. And while we talk about that, who did this in this map already, just like I did? I mean, come on, this map is amazing, it's beautiful, but those low altitude clouds, they do get you sometimes. So yeah, and going for a more of a Soviet approach or Russian approach over here, we have 2 very interesting aircraft for the final 2 of the list. The first one is a very interesting one, and very ugly as well, the Yak-38U. So this is a biplaced trainer version of the Yak-38. It is really weird. I don't know if you find this beautiful or not. I find it very ugly, but it's so ugly that it would be interesting to see. It's very different from anything else, and it would be pretty much the same as the other aircraft that we already talked about. The same level of performance, the same, I mean, of course there is always extra weight of carrying another person and all the equipments for that other person in the aircraft itself, but everything else is pretty much the same. Same engine, the same missiles, the same gun pod, the same air-to-ground capabilities. So it would be a very, you know, not a very good aircraft, to be honest. The Ak-38 is a very limited aircraft, but it would be cool. Of course, it doesn't have flares or anything like that. Maybe it would carry the R-60M if they want to add it, just like the Ak-38 that we have in the game. It could carry the R-60M as well, but it's not carrying it right now. So the options of weapons are basically the same as the normal Ak-38. It would just be heavier, so technically worse. So maybe adding the R-60M or something like that to actually be competitive. It would still take like only 2 of them, maybe 4. I don't know, I couldn't confirm, but it would be very, very, you know, bad. But it would be a cool little option to have. And the last one is an aircraft that is my beloved. You know, it is the main one, probably one of the sexiest MiGs ever produced. And we just had to add the MiG-29UB. I mean, look at this thing. It's so cool looking. The 2-seater version of it is beautiful. I love it. And this aircraft is pretty much a 912A, okay? But there are some very interesting changes to it. So the first thing is that they didn't change the fuselage itself to carry the second pilot, just like they did with the Ak-38U. You know, on that aircraft they had to change the fuselage to actually include the second pilot or the instructor. In this one they didn't. They actually moved it forward, the pilot, and the co-pilot or the instructor would stay behind with a periscope kind of mirror kind of thing to actually make you make the instructor know where the actual aircraft is going on a landing and takeoff and stuff like that, right? Also another change is that they removed the radar because of that forward pilot that was like pushed to the front, right? So it doesn't have a radar, so no radar missiles. Another interesting thing is that it doesn't have flares or chaff, so it would be a very limited MiG-29. It could be carrying the R-73, the R-60M, and also all the capabilities of air-to-ground that the normal MiG-29 carried, and the same level of fuel. Although it is heavier a little bit, it has the same level of fuel. The main thing is that it would still carry the HMS or the helmet, and it would still carry the IRST. So it is combat capable with R-27Ts and ETs and R-73s and R-60Ms, but it wouldn't have the flares to defend itself. So it would be very interesting, but very bad at the same time. I don't know. It would be a very cool addition, and hopefully that thing is added. And here it is, guys. 4 aircraft that I think are kind of in the same level of, you know, way of being added as the event vehicles that we are normally receiving from Gaijin. So if they continue on this trend, we will probably see some of these in the game. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe and let me know in the comments what you think about it.